If you've liked what you've heard from the Central Indiana Sports Report, and come on, it's like, seriously, really good. I don't want to brag, but anyway, please go subscribe or follow us. We are at SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Go search Central Indiana Sports Report. We're easy to find. Do it, and do it now.
You're listening to Strictly Biased with Will Retherford. And here's your host, Will Retherford, and co-host, Greg Mingelt.
Welcome, Central Indiana sports fans, to Strictly Biased with Will Retherford. That would be me, your host for the show this evening on the...
That would be take 12, too.
Yeah, take 12. This good thing we're podcasting and it's not live. Been a mouthful to get out this evening, but we are happy to be week 2 of the show with you guys. I have Greg Mingelt with me as my co-host this evening. Greg, I have a lot to talk about this evening, but first, what would you like to know?
I want to know, Will, if you've seen that the Colts have made a trade this evening.
I have not seen that. What is that all about?
The Colts have traded a 6th-round draft pick for another Minnesota Viking defensive back, Mekhi Blackman, added to the defensive backfield room, and already a pretty good-looking defensive backfield room.
What's so funny is I have been on Twitter
46 seconds ago, according to my Twitter.
Mekhi Blackman. You know what? I think that's interesting. I want to know if that has anything to do with Wally missing the entire year with the ACL tear. If they're just not happy with what they've got so far. That's quite interesting. I would say if there's anything they needed to trade for, it would not have been
It'd be the last
DB.
thing, wouldn't it?
I would say that's probably their deepest and best positional group right now if we're really going just top to bottom as far as what they've got. But, I mean, if they find that this is a player that can have the most impact on their team, I see no reason why you shouldn't go out and get him. I mean, I'm going to go down the list. We've got 7 corners. We have 11 DBs. You've got...
Well, let me tell you what I know, Will, about Mekhi Blackman real fast. He did not play last season. He was injured. The year before, as a rookie in 2023, he had 34 solo tackles, a fumble recovery and interception. So pretty productive as a rookie before being injured last year.
Yeah, I think that it's an opportunity.
Former third round pick out of USC.
I think it's an opportunity to get a player that might be a potential starter down the line. You get him for a 6th-round pick. Obviously, he was taken in the 3rd round just 2 years ago, and he's a cheap alternative. I mean, you've got Ward, Kenny Moore, Jalen Jones, Xavier Howard, Juju Brents. I mean, you're talking that's 5 deep, but I mean, I know with Lou Anarumo, there's a good chance they run a lot of dime, and they've got 6 DBs on.
They have no linebackers, so you might as well play 25 defensive backs, right?
I think that's part of the reason that I really expect the Colts are probably only going to carry 4 linebackers coming into camp, or out of camp. I just think that they're going to play a ton of dime, and I think that, honestly, the way this roster is constructed is probably the best thing for them.
It might be. And that's only because it's the way the roster's constructed. It might not be a really good way to go.
So, Greg, I was curious. I've seen Tyrese Halliburton. He hosted a camp this past weekend. He was walking around in a boot and mentioned in a conversation with reporters that there's no timetable for his return at all. How do you feel? What's your reaction to that? Because I get the sense that, I mean, are we talking about this is an 18-month recovery? And, I mean, he's going to come back not the beginning of next season, maybe halfway through?
No way. In fact, there's talk that Jason Tatum might even return this year. So, he will be 100% healthy at the start of next year. If he's not, then you're talking about just a long-term situation that you don't even want to deal with.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would have.
I don't want to think about it, man. The Oladipo thing, the Paul George broken leg. Oh, this cannot happen, man.
I just think the language, don't you feel like the language is a little strange, though? Because Richards basically already came out and essentially said that he's not playing at all next year under no circumstances.
No circumstances.
So, I mean,
I like it.
There's no. I like it too, but
just
there's
take it
no
off the table.
There's no timetable for his return beginning next year at all. I just think it's a weird way to answer a question, and it seems as if his recovery has gone well. I mean, he seems to be right on track. He's talking about walking in a shoe and being gone after, I believe, next week. So I don't know. I piqued my interest a little bit just hearing that.
Well, I'm guessing if they wanted to, they could probably push to have him back by March. With that injury, I'm guessing, but it just doesn't make any sense with your franchise player to even push it to May and try to get him in the playoffs.
Well, I see this as a season where he comes back in May, and is he really 100%? I mean, what's the re-injury?
Well, you wouldn't bring him back unless he was.
Well, no, but he's not going to be. You hear previous athletes say it does take.
Man, these surgeries, I'm telling you, man, the last few years have changed everything. I think Jason Tatum is planning on coming back this year.
His injury was 5 weeks before Halliburton's, and he had surgery immediately after. I mean, realistically, if we're going on the timeline, it would make sense for Tatum to be back. Probably if he wanted to be back next year in the playoffs. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd rush it if I was Boston, but that's their own prerogative.
Yeah, it is. I'm just saying, I'm guessing that with modern medicine that it's possible that they could have him back for a championship run next year. But the smart move is just to say, nah, let's just he's young. Let's just take our time. Let's win the next 7 championships after next year.
Okay. I like that thought process. Speaking of championships in Indiana, we were so high on the Fever coming into the season.
Well, we had a Fever report we released on Monday, and one of the things I said to John and Michelle was, think back to that day against the Sky on opening day, 83-58. And everything seemed so good. Everything, it was going to be so smooth all the way to, I'm not going to say a championship, but a championship run, a run at it. And it has just been as bad as it could get.
It's been Groundhog Day, essentially, for him. I mean, we're sitting here, and every week we have another guard that's going to miss the rest of the season. Cunningham's injury is just the icing on the cake, I think. Are they going to even make the playoffs? I mean, if they make it, they're limping in.
Does it matter if they
literally? Do? I don't think it does. Is Clark are we just convinced that she's not coming back? That it's not,
I am now.
It's a lost cause.
I am now. What? If you're not winning a championship, shut it down.
I agree. I'm just saying they've been kind of cryptic with her injury the whole time, as far as not giving any sort of timeline to the fans.
And a little understandably, but very.
I also think it is fair, and I know that John and Michelle and you talked about it on Monday. Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston have been incredible in absence of Clark.
Incredible.
One player, and I know that John, if he's going to listen, I'm going to get flack for this, that I've been a little underwhelmed with this runway of an opportunity has been Lexi Hull. I think that she's been bad, really.
She's been bad offensively, no doubt about that.
But this was her opportunity to step up and I think cement herself as a true role star / role player, high role player on this team, and I just haven't seen it. I know that shooting.
We've definitely seen her hit her ceiling, haven't we?
I think so. I think that at this point, you know what she is.
Yeah, the kind of player you want on your team.
I agree.
But not the kind of player that you want being the 4th best player on your team.
Right now, currently with the injuries, that's just kind of the situation that they naturally are in.
If you were running the Fever right now, and you don't know the medicals of all of it, but what would be your advice to Stephanie White?
Finish above 500 and try to limp into the playoffs if you can. I mean, just to try to keep yourself relevant in the media. I think if they miss the playoffs, it's going to get really loud. And I'm not that
you get
it's
in the
bad.
Draft lottery.
You get in the draft lottery, and maybe that's the best thing. But
think about this, Will.
They're not getting the top pick. They're not even going to get close.
I said this yesterday. Imagine going into next season with an MVP level Kelsey Mitchell, an MVP level Aaliyah Boston, an MVP level Caitlin Clark, and you add another big draft pick. It could be they could stomp the rest of this. If everything went well, they could stomp the rest of the league next year.
Well, I think that it's true. One thing I am going to say is I don't think that you get this version of Kelsey Mitchell with Clark on the floor.
Probably
So
not.
I think that it's definitely she's shown. I mean, she's a ball heavy guard, same way as Clark is. I mean, Mitchell's just kind of had to adjust to being the second fiddle, and I think that she's great in that role. She's excellent, but you've definitely seen her elevate her game in Clark's absence, which is great for the Fever. You can bank on her in the future as far as having an all-star fringe, all WNBA MVP candidate type player to the Joker of Batman when it comes to Caitlin Clark, but I think it's fair to say that she's not going to play like this with Clark on the floor too. And I think Clark elevates Boston even more than she's played so far. The more you talk, I like the sound of potentially just losing out, and all of a sudden we're talking about a draft lottery and another chance to bring in a big name. I think it's going to be really hard on the league if that doesn't happen. The Fever are still driving revenue and stuff, and the Fever really have an advantageous
But if
schedule.
the Fever without Caitlin Clark aren't driving anything.
The league's running in circles right now. I mean, with her absence, I mean, this is essentially a mute point. And I think what's so funny is Clark's absence. You haven't heard a single thing from Angel Reese. Nothing. Not on Twitter, not in socials, Instagram, whatever. I've been kind of glad that it's been quiet because I think when she talks, it's really pretty usually unintelligent what's coming out of her mouth. She says some really dumb shit in the media. And her comeuppance, I guess, is here because without Clark, she's really not relevant either, and nobody else is talking about her. So,
yeah. We talked yesterday on the Fever Report. I said if Caitlin Clark wanted to, she could just end the WNBA. She could just end the whole thing.
Well, I mean,
if she wanted to start a four-team barnstorming league, it would put no one would ever pay attention to the WNBA again. They would have big attendance. The networks would be begging to put the games on the networks. And they could just put a team in Iowa City, a team in Indianapolis, a team in Nashville, and wherever else, and just finish the WNBA. And those ungrateful, pay us what you owe us.
Well, I agree. I think that there is definitely a conversation to be had. The WNBA might be taking itself out to the barn to shoot itself anyway. I listened to John's conspiracy. I think it's great if you're into conspiracies, but logically, I just think that this is going to end really poorly for the league. For whatever reason, the players have no buy-in to what is trying to be accomplished.
They just don't get it at all.
They don't. And the unfortunate reality is that the product is not good enough to justify the lack of understanding that people really just don't care about the WNBA outside of the niche market that it is. It's not a league that drives numbers. It's not a league that people really care about unless Caitlin Clark's suiting up.
Caitlin Clark comes to town, everybody loves it.
And I think that she could destroy the WNBA, but I think that the WNBA might take care of itself before that's even done. And this whole unrivaled league with some of these players have, as far as being the president of the player union and also having a stake in it's just a massive issue that only the WNBA could circle itself into. This is a league that constantly tries to be the worst version possible. So I feel for the Fever. They don't deserve it, but they're going to go into irrelevancy as well with the league, I fear. Greg, in the light of some comments made to me and you regarding our lack of positivity and analysis of the Colts, which I find to be a little humorous considering it was a Week 3 preseason game as far as analyzing the game, I'd like to ask you, what's your positive take on the Indianapolis Colts right now?
You want to get me in trouble. I think the best case scenario is 3-14, and they get a top 5 pick, or 5 and as long as it's top 5. I don't need it to be number 1 again, but as long as it's a top 5 pick, this is a quarterback heavy draft. What else, Will? I'm going to go 10-7 and sign Daniel Jones to a long-term contract because he's now the 19th best quarterback in the NFL. That's my biggest fear, Will, is that he's good enough that they sign him long-term and think he's a franchise quarterback. Because he can be that good if
I,
everything went well.
He can be. I mean, he's got the New York Giants franchise record for highest completion percentage in a season. He absolutely can throw 70% next year.
He's not horrible. That's not the issue.
Well, and part of the problem too, in the spirit of positivity, is that the Colts have playmakers that fit Daniel Jones' play style. Like Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren are built in a lab probably to play with a guy like Daniel Jones as far as possession, yards after catch. Now I fear for Alec Pierce. I think that their best bet with this Jones experiment is to trade him because he's not going to be used at all. Jones just doesn't push the ball down the field the way that Richardson does. Or
get him in space. You could do something different with Alec Pierce. He's great in space.
But he's really a vertical receiver, and so if you don't have a quarterback that's vertically pushing the ball, then he's all he's doing is taking the safety with him, and you're hoping that something underneath in the 10 to 12 yard range is what Jones hits. But I think that you're going to see Pierce, who had a really good year last year and kind of came into form with Richardson and Flacco, who both pushed the ball downfield a lot. I fear that you're going to push him to irrelevancy because you're going to have so much of the targets going to Downs, going to Pittman, and going to Tyler Warren. I just don't see a fit for him in this offense.
I can't believe that Colts put me in a position, Will, to hope that they lose.
Well,
because it could just become a nightmare if they just – because if Daniel Jones is as good as they think he is, they're going to sign him to a long-term contract, and they're going to go with that. They're going to say good enough.
I guess
and I don't like it.
It's going to depend on what the Irsay girls decide to do. I think if it's true that Ballard is really on the outs regardless of whatever happens this season, barring a Super Bowl, and that Steichen's probably gone too, then I don't think it matters. I think
play Riley Leonard.
That talking about Riley Leonard.
I'm just saying my fear is Daniel Jones is too good. That's my fear.
I think that Riley Leonard kind of got me in trouble last week as far as my negative comments surrounding his play. With that being said,
he is the best he's the best third string quarterback for his career. You're not wrong.
I thought that it was pretty easy to see. I'm not going to get fooled by watching him play against the fourth string Bengals. I do fear that there is a lot to like about this Colts team outside of quarterback, and I don't fear it. I mean, I want them to win. That's not like I'm rooting for their best.
It's such a conundrum.
At the same time, like this roster is plenty good enough for them to potentially win the AFC South. I really truly believe that. Now, they're not at the level of contention, but did we really expect them even with Richardson to be there?
Well, yeah, and that's the issue. If Daniel Jones if it was a normal year in the AFC and a good Daniel Jones could get you to an AFC championship, maybe. But there's no way this roster's good enough to beat Buffalo. It's not good enough to beat Baltimore. It's not good enough to beat Kansas City. And probably not even good enough to beat L.A. or the Broncos.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I've been high on the Broncos since the last year.
Yeah, it's a great roster. It's a great roster. I just don't believe in Bo Nix.
I don't know how. I mean, you saw him play last year. It looked like the real deal.
I have Auburn nightmares in my mind.
Maybe, but he really. I think whatever happened in Eugene, I think fixed him. He can push the ball down. He's got all of.
I saw it a lot last year. That there's a lot of. Did he just really make that play in him? A lot of. I don't know. It reminds me of some quarterbacks that have failed because they cannot make the right play. He'll get a chance to prove us wrong this year. He was good last year. Don't get me wrong, especially for a rookie. I get it. I just think there is a limitation to him with his thinking ability.
Sean Payton's going to get him on the right.
You've been saying that for a long time.
If Sean Payton believes in him, I believe in him because I think Sean Payton is that good of a coach. I think there's a lot of Josh Allen and Bo Nix. I really do. I think when you turn on the tape and watch him, I think there's a lot of Josh Allen and Bo Nix, whether people want to admit it or not.
Josh Allen is brilliant in the open field. He thinks faster than the defense. I don't see that with Nix. Maybe I'm wrong.
How did Josh Allen look his rookie year?
Yeah, it's true. I still have. He was really bad for Auburn. It was really bad, and they haven't recovered since.
I mean, they were on the outs basically after Cam Newton left, so it's
That's
not
right.
like it's
He
been
was the
some-
replacement, not the immediate replacement, but pretty close. Will, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is this season? I'm starting to get the feeling this season's just all about Baltimore and Buffalo and waiting for that AFC Championship game, which is going to be the Super Bowl. I think they're both going 15-2, 16-1.
I think that this is crazy. I just have this feeling that whoever wins the South goes and plays spoiler to somebody. I do. The South is
that Jacksonville team is one that could definitely jump up there.
The South is won 3 straight round 1 games so far in the playoffs the last 3 years, going back that far, which is about as far as I'll go as far as relevancy in the NFL. Really, it's the league's even changed so much since then. But there's something about the South that I think they play. I don't know if opponents overlook them and they just come out and shock the world, but I really see a situation like that where if somebody's not crossing their T's and dotting their I's, like Houston or Jacksonville goes and gets somebody and makes it to the AFC Championship, and you never saw it coming.
We've said this in the past. Nothing ever goes completely right for everybody.
No.
But if everything went completely right for Jacksonville, if everything went completely right for Houston, and if everything went completely right for the Colts, they could be in the level under Baltimore and Buffalo.
If everything went right for those 3 teams, Jacksonville, Houston, and the Colts, all 3 of those teams could win 12 games.
That's what I'm saying. For any of those teams, if it went just right for any of those teams, they could be the 3rd best team in the AFC.
Yeah. Now, I will say that part of the problem is that you're probably going to have to host at some point a Denver or a Kansas City or an LA in the playoffs, just naturally with the fact of you're only going to get one team that gets home field advantage by winning their division. So you're going to have to play a really tough opponent on the road, or at home, and I think that could cause problems. But at the end of the day, I do see a situation where the Colts, Jacksonville, and Houston are all better than we think they are going to be, and I think people are relatively high on Houston. I think Jacksonville's kind of in the same situation with the Colts where a lot could go wrong and a lot could go right, but Jacksonville's good to great Trevor Lawrence play away from being awfully good, and Liam Cohen turned Baker Mayfield into a superstar. So I think if we were to go,
the word on Travis Hunter is difference maker.
I think if we were to go purely on intangibles that the quarterback possesses, I think we would all agree that Lawrence is probably a more talented player than Baker Mayfield is as far as what his ability to do with the football. So I think they could be really good. I think there's a situation. I do know one thing: if they go,
I'm picking them to win the division.
If they go 1-16, their one win will be at the Colts. Whenever the Colts need to make the playoffs,
That's right.
So that will be their one. If they're 1-16, you know which week it happened.
We know that for sure. Hey, Will, the Reds getting in the playoffs?
I don't know.
They do. They're dangerous.
It seems they're not dangerous, but
they're dangerous, man. That lineup, that young lineup's starting to learn. It's getting better and better every day.
Too hot and cold. That doesn't fit for postseason baseball.
I know, but it's getting better and better. I'm telling you. Marte is a smart hitter now. De La Cruz is a smart hitter now. They weren't early in the year. I think Francona's had a big impact on them. I don't think they're getting in. The schedule's too tough. But if they do, they would probably lose in the first round. But I can see a path to them being dangerous.
The Arizona Diamondbacks were the last team in 2 years ago and made the World Series. So we cannot count it out ever in baseball. I like their momentum. I just think the Mets will eventually just kind of play well for a 2-week stretch and just kind of cement themselves as we're good enough to make the playoffs.
It's my guess, but there's hope. And going forward into the next couple of seasons, there's a lot of hope. Cubs rebounded well.
That team's not good enough either.
I like the way they played the last couple of days. I will never like the Cubs. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing to like about the Cubs. Nothing.
Well, there's nothing to like about any NL Central team that's not your team, but
the Whitey Herzog day. Back in the days when the Reds and Cardinals were in different divisions, I could cheer for the Cardinals. I love the Whitey ball teams. Man, I love those teams.
One thing we can say is that Milwaukee is a team that is built to win in the postseason.
Hey, the Cubs just took 3 out of 4 from them.
Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee's basically coasting now.
Yeah, they don't coast against the Cubs. Come on.
Oh no, but I mean, that's not like outrageous that division's locked up, and it's one of those situations where I think like we're not going to give the Cubs our best. There's a chance we play them in October. Like we're not going to go in with the same strategy we would in a postseason series against them that we are today. In fact, maybe you're giving them a couple things to tease them going into the playoffs. I know that sounds outrageous, but maybe your pitch strategy is a little different than it's going to be in October, and you're just trying to maybe give them some visuals to set things up later. That sounds crazy in baseball, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility.
On Friday, Will, let's make our official NFL predictions. We're going to get the predictions from everybody on the Central Indiana Sports staff. We're going to go over all of those on Friday's Strictly Biased with Will Retherford. You're going to play referee. And we're going to try to get some members of the local media involved as well and pick the division winners, the eventual champions, MVP, things like that. Basically, it's our chance to make fun of people.
Yeah, I can't wait for what Michelle's going to say. Some crazy stuff. Just outrageous takes.
She's not the only one either. This has been great, and we're just going to keep getting better and better.
Yep, I hope that it, and just a little tidbit late for the listeners. If you have anything you would like us to talk about, any questions, you can always send us a tweet at Twitter. You can direct message anything.
You can text me at 502-533-3161.
And I think that we want this show to incorporate you guys and want to hear what you want us to talk about as much as things that we want to talk about. So we
want you to tell Will how stupid he is.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.